Hey, what's going on, Crystal? Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
What's
Hey,
going on? What's going on? How you doing?
hey, trying to make it. You hear my voice still going
Yeah, I still here. It's going. Man, it's been like 2 weeks, hasn't it?
a month.
A month. Wow, time is really flying. Got you.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a month since it's been cutting up. So yeah, they're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm hoping that they find out sooner than later, and that you continue. Hopefully, you still got like energy and stuff like that to go about your day as usual.
It's a lot.
It's a
Like
lot.
it's a lot. We'll
Got
talk
you.
later. We'll
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
talk.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
worries. So today we're gonna be just focusing on pretty much like some tips and some hacks that's gonna help you engage in your audience and identify who that core audience is really going to be.
Okay.
Um, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Boom. And so this is going to be an audience engagement session is what I call it. So I just kind of worked on this. I'm really like putting together little presentations and having the visuals just so you can kind of see. It also helps out with the taking notes and stuff like that. So I'm gonna try and do stuff like this more often. Of course I'm gonna
I
always
might
share
need
my
you to
screen.
I might need you to help me with my course like this.
Oh, like making a course.
Yeah, so I have a course that called the Gresham Giles Experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I can send it over. But it's like a video that we did. It's kind of dated now, so maybe we can talk off about updating it. It's a whole like it looks like a commercial. It's like the whole experience of walking in the salon from the beginning of a service all the way to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterward, there's like a PowerPoint that's there that kind of helped me as I'm teaching the course, um,
Gotcha.
help
So
me to
you would want to
navigate.
use it. You would want to use it more so for yourself, or would you include it in like the updated course?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, we could definitely talk about creating that. I helped Ryan and Ty out with their course and stuff like that as well. So, I could
Okay.
definitely help you out with that. Um, so when we look at, let me go back. When we look at the goal for audience engagement, it's pretty much, wanting to test out. Like the whole goal of this presentation, Crystal, is to give you the courage and the ideas to test out as many ideas as possible that allow you to engage and challenge your audience to reveal themselves because they there. And I when we had last week's call, Callum, he was asking a couple questions. How do you even know if somebody's a real follower? Like how do you get them to identify themselves? And the truth of the matter is like they're there, sometimes they're just shy, right? Especially if they're new followers, or if they're new members of your Facebook group. Like they just might be shy and not knowing exactly what the rules are, how people play this game, how to best engage with you. So we just got to do little things that slickly get them to reveal themselves and show themselves as a true fan, a true supporter, and follower of the brand. So we looked at this a couple times, but I want to put emphasis on it again because we always want to start here when it comes to analyzing the room, like just kind of checking in to see who's tapping in with us, when are they tapping in with us. I was doing a little survey, as I'm trying to grow the community. So I'm reaching out to other podcasters. I'm trying to figure out, what's what's bugging them down or what's weighing them down and stopping them from engaging with people. And a couple people said the same thing, was not knowing when to post and how often to post. And before we
Okay.
even go into like when and how often to post, we got to analyze the room, which is going to be our professional dashboard, and just kind of getting an idea of who is mainly following us, who is mainly already engaging in our content, so that we can kind of paint this picture or tell a story on who this person is, and try to figure out like the best way to reach them, the best messages to put in front of them that's really going to like um stick and resonate the most. So like if I'm looking at my dashboard, I see that most of my following is one is 68% men, and they're between the ages of 18 to 24. Really, I could say 18 to 34 because that they're the two they're tied at 30 like 37%, 33%. So I'll say like 18 to 34 is like
Mm-hmm.
the main person that is a young man. I would even narrow it down to maybe like 22 to 28. I would say 22 to 28 for the most part. A man that is pretty much following me, engaging in my content for the most part, and I see that they're most active. Um, when I keep scrolling on these days, like between Monday through Sunday, I see that it's most active between 12 and 3 o'clock. So that tells me that they are one, a non-traditional 9 to 5er, meaning they either are they get an extended lunch break where they pretty much active at that 12 o'clock, or they
Mm-hmm.
work some type of like nights, or they work some type of weird schedule that they got some free time in the middle of the day, but either in the morning time they sleep, and then at the end they grinding, or vice versa, right? So that's you can't really paint the picture exactly, but it at least gives you a starting point, at least knowing where like when you should post. I will say that you can train your audience to like engage with you in different times. Like if you want to change this, let's say like, oh, I really want to post at 9 p.m. because at 9 p.m. on you know Wednesdays and Fridays, or Mondays and Wednesdays, I'm gonna go live. So I want my audience to be active at 9 p.m. You can't train your audience by starting to post consistently at 9 p.m. and seeing if that changes anything. Because I know for me, for the
Mm-hmm.
most part, when I first started my like when I had my most consistent and longest streak of posting consistently, which was I think 74 days of posting every day, I was posting 2 to 3 times a day, and it was definitely one post at 12, between 12 and 1 o'clock. So I think that's for the most part why it shows that 12 o'clock is my most active, because I kind of trained my audience for expecting to post every day at 12 o'clock, around at least around 12 o'clock. So again, you can retrain, but I would say to start off, go in that professional dashboard, hit your followers, and then from the followers, you can scroll down and see these analytics right here from their demographic, age, gender, and when they're most active on your page. And the crazy thing is, you can do this on YouTube as well. You can't do it from the desktop, but if you go to YouTube on the YouTube Studio app, it looks like this. This little app right here. The
Okay.
YouTube Studio app has has a portion where if you go to analytics and you go to audience, you're able to see the same thing. So like you're able to get an idea of when your audience is most active as well. So that's another thing to kind of help you out with trying up your audience on YouTube as well, for short form content and long form content. I actually like the way that YouTube presents their analytics a lot better than like Instagram. Facebook is
Does
it
it?
looks the same as Instagram. TikTok looks the same as Instagram. YouTube, I think YouTube gives you more information when it comes to like really identifying your audience. I mean, rightfully so, right? Because if you think about it, YouTube doesn't allow you to really like chat with your subscribers or anything like that. Like your subscribers, you don't even get their email or contact information. It's like you just got this ghost number like just floating on your profile saying, "Oh, you got this amount of subscribers," but you don't really have no true way of communicating with them. So I think that's the least that YouTube can do, is by giving you a very detailed back office to really analyze your audience and stuff like that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so here's some questions that you want to ask yourself to really get a clear picture on who this avatar is. Of course, you got the basic ones like what's your avatar's age, gender, culture, what do they do for a living, where do they like to hang out at, are they a club goer or do they like going to the parks? Basic questions like that. And then at the bottom, you get, more to the nitty gritty, like what are some good and bad habits that your avatar have? right? Because this allows us, if we can really figure out what their bad habits are, this allows you to come up with like products and services that might make their bad habit, help them alleviate some of those bad habits. You can even use those bad habits to really trigger them in your messaging as well. Same thing with the good habits, right? What are some common expressions that they use, like sayings that they're, constantly using on a day-to-day basis, how they communicate with family and friends, what problems do they face consistently? That's a good one. Because again, going back to like products and services and course creation and everything like that, identifying like problems that this person that we're targeting has on a consistent basis, it seems reasonable to come up with a solution to that problem. And then lastly, you got like what desires do they have for themselves? Like what burning desires? Like do they want to travel 3 to 4 times a year? Do they want to have a certain income unlocked? Do they want to have a certain love life? Do they want to have a certain number of businesses? Do they want to have a certain number of income streams? What are those burning desires that they have? Because again, it will help you come up with like some products and services that might be, help them alleviate some of the stress, or instead of getting from A to C, helping them skip the B process and going straight from A to C. Different things like that. And it's a ton of different questions that you can really be asking yourself. This is really just to kind of get a good start. But the whole point of these questions is to like get down to the nitty gritty on who this person is, what do they love to do, who do they like to spend most of their time with. If you can get down at the end of an exercise or a session like this of identifying your avatar, if you can get like like a fictitious name for this person, what they look like, what type of job they have, what part of the city they live in. Like if you can get specific to where this person has a name and an act like a full blown identity, you get really, really, really like honed in on like what what type of content you need to create, what types of products and services you need to create, how the messages, how like just how to package it up. It's just like being on the phone with somebody. Like imagine like somebody calling your phone and they're saying like, "Hey, Crystal," but you don't have the number saved. It's like you don't know if you should approach them like a bill collector. You don't know if you should approach them like a friend. You don't know if you should approach them like some business, like some money on the other line. You don't know how to approach them because they haven't properly identified themselves. So like this just helps you to properly identify who you're talking to. So it's like every time you talking to them, it's like you talking specifically to them, and you're not missing them, or going over their head. So that's that. And then next we're going to go even more in depth with the psychograph. So the psychograph is like a analysis of how these people think. So you got the identity, the aims, and the mores, right? So the identity is like who they are, like at their core, who are they? Not who they want to be, but like who are they, going back into their good habits, their bad habits, how they think, you know, um, if they procrastinate, like who are they at their core? Because again, this allows you to, if you look into sales and psychology and things like that, with just marketing, like all marketing is a combination of sales and psychology. Sales is even psychology. So it's like you understanding the identity of a person really allows you to tap in with like, no, like saying I'm gonna use this word instead of that word. Like it's the difference of saying, oh, it's a one-time investment, or you can buy it today at this price, right? Like one type of personality is gonna be like totally like, oh, the fact that you even said buy, or the price is, it could turn them off, as opposed to if you just swung it and said the investment is this.
Yeah,
Um,
I teach that when I'm teaching stylists that verbiage
hmm
is valuable. So instead of saying like weave, I use extensions, or hair shaping. We don't say perms, you say relaxers. And just those small terms give the client an experience. And like you said, it's just the mind frame. When people come in, they just think different. So nothing's ever free, but I have complimentary snacks.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference. Like you said, it's definitely psychological. I think
Yeah.
I said somebody said like when Walmart uses the 97 cent instead of 99
hmm
at
hmm
the end of everything.
Yep, and we even do that with like our courses and stuff like that too. Like
Uh-huh.
instead of like $500, it'll be 497. Instead of
Yeah.
$1,500, it's 1497. Like it's just something about that $3 difference,
Yeah.
and it's like the 99 has been like ingrained in the back of our heads to where we automatically know to round up 99, but for some reason that 97 is 97. It's like it's not we don't round it up like we would round it up to 99. And
Exactly.
that makes a lot of sense as well with the verbiage of like, going back to like the weave and perms, because like those two words right there already, I could see how society has plastered, negative connotation with them. So like, weave, perms, everything like that, people kind of like hear it and they get turned off. So where if you
Hmm.
use those replacements, it's kind of like, oh, that's a good way of putting it.
Hmm. Yeah. Verbiage goes a long way.
It goes a huge way, and it
Yes.
goes back into like knowing that you can't say the wrong thing to the right person, but you can say the wrong thing to the wrong person.
Hmm.
But
Exactly.
but you could also say the right thing to the wrong person too.
Right. And you could say the right thing to the right person.
Exactly, exactly.
Right.
So it just like going back to that verbiage is the difference between you like increasing your conversions and your close rates when it comes to having these conversations, especially these money conversations.
Yes. Yes. That's the other thing. I think that's the biggest thing is when you equated the verbiage to value.
Hmm.
The verbiage has value and how you say it and how people receive it. Like I said, when you hear people that have money and hear something says free, they looking like ain't nothing free.
Hmm.
But if it's complimentary, that means it comes along with whatever I know it's included in my, you know what I'm saying? It's
Hmm.
included in my price. So I expect my price to be a certain level because I got complimentary snacks or we got complimentary Wi-Fi.
Exactly, exactly. And even going back to that value piece too is like it, we should all be reminded that, even ourselves personally, like we don't really care too much about the bells and whistles more than we care about what is this going to do for me? What is the value? And like that even goes into our content as well. It's like I see so many creators like trying to go viral, or they're just trying to do something for like views and to be funny and to be liked, but it's like you might come up with a couple viral videos where, oh, people like it and people laugh and they got a kick out of it, but eventually if people don't get no value from it, it's like that's the difference between getting the follow button. That's the difference between somebody joining your community and sharing your post and all that other stuff, because they also got some value from it.
Yeah.
um and that value goes a long way, because people, we're naturally very selfish. We want ourselves to be taken care of first. um
Yes.
so the aims, that's like what they want. Speaking of value, right? Aims is what they want. You want to be very specific on their why and understanding again what their burning desires are. Because if you can understand their aims, this helps you even with recruiting the right guests, especially if you find out that your let's say your target audience, they really 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 want to be, uh I'm gonna throw out there like a real estate mogul. Then
Mhm.
I mean, if I know that, then it'll make sense. I'm not a real estate mogul, so it makes sense as a podcast host that I get real estate moguls on the show. So I want to aim at like the Grant Cardones, the Beyond Wins, and all these other guys that I know in that real estate space that have actionable plans to help people kind of get to a greater level. So that's again the importance of aims, and then lastly you got your mores, how they belong and what they value. This is more so understanding like what scratches their itches as humans. Like how do they like what types of communities do they really enjoy being in? Like how do they like to decompress when they're stressed out? What is most important to them? At their job, is it growth and opportunity, or is it salary and security? Like these things like that help you understand those mores, because again it all goes back into how you pitch the information. It all goes back to how you pitch the information, how you package it up, and how you deliver it to them with a bow on top and some complimentary snacks, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So here we go. We got the core four. So we know all these apps from YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. So with all these apps, I would say of the top three, and in YouTube, I'm not going to include YouTube Shorts, but YouTube Shorts will be like this one, right? Posting daily, like whatever you posting on these ones, you can go ahead and post on YouTube Shorts as well. I will say the captions will make a slight difference, so the captions will vary. It's not like it's a one size fits all. For the most part, like what you post on Instagram, you can post the same thing exactly on Facebook because they're the same apps and share the same similar algorithm. TikTok, you might want to put some type of hook as the caption, something that will impulse people. And
Oh,
then like YouTube Shorts, you want to put something that is searchable.
gotcha.
Yeah, so your caption you want it to be searchable. So like a searchable caption on YouTube Shorts wouldn't be like, for example, I post a video about how to get more views on Instagram. Instead of like on Instagram, the caption might be I did this for 30 days straight to increase my Instagram views up 100%, right? It's like a hook, but it's also very no, that's exactly what it is. It's a hook. But on YouTube Shorts, I would rephrase that to be more so like how to grow your Instagram views in the next 30 days.
Because you're looking for the keywords that's going to
Exactly, exactly. And that's like most likely what somebody's going to search on YouTube. And
Mhm.
you can always, again, test that out by using the YouTube search engine. So, I'm gonna go to YouTube really quick and I'm gonna share my screen again. So, boom, we got YouTube here. I'm always using YouTube as a search engine, like even before I put out a video, right? So let's say I'm putting out a video about give me a random topic. Let's say even a topic that you might have thought about putting out on YouTube.
um, how to, I want to say, how to release your young adult kids into the world.
Releasing your young adult
Like,
kids into the world. Okay,
yeah.
so I'm gonna think like how would because it's not even about how would somebody search that, but more so how is my target like how is my avatar going to search that? Because they might search a little bit differently. So like somebody asking that question is obviously a parent. They're a
Mhm.
parent of some kids that are getting a little bit older, so they like teenagers slash young adults. So I would probably ask the question um like my kids are moving out soon. See, that didn't come out. So like what I'm doing
Mm.
is I'm trying to see what shows up in these like I
Put
would
in
say like the
grown
top
kids,
five.
grown kids. Put in grown kids. That's what adults probably grown kids.
Yeah, so hmm,
Did it come? Yeah.
how to
How to get rid of your grown kids.
hmm, how to become an empty nester, right? So I'm gonna just type this in and see what comes
Okay.
up. Because this is interesting, right? Like this would have
Mm-hmm.
I would probably spend a good amount of time trying to figure out. Now, for some reason, my tube buddy is saying that the search volume on this topic is excellent and the competition is good, which gives there's some really good feedback on making this your keywords. The crazy
So
thing is
empty
though,
nest.
it did not come up on the search engine though, and that could just be because of my algorithm.
Right. Okay. Because over to the right, all those empty nests,
Yeah.
parenting.
hmm Common
No,
video tags.
yes. And what does those blue lines, what do those mean? Yeah.
How strong they are. So you got from
Okay.
strongest to weakest.
Okay.
Yep. And then like what I'll do is I'll even like after using YouTube as my search engine and I find one and I search it, I'll even take a couple of these videos and try to
Hmm.
look for a trend. So like surviving empty nest syndrome, empty nesters, empty nest syndrome, empty nest syndrome, empty nest syndrome. So empty nest syndrome seems to be the trend in the top performing videos. So 13K, 16K, empty nester 17K, empty nester 5K, 5K. Great thing is none of these videos really have any more than 20,000 views though.
Hmm.
Here goes one. People also watch Parent Prepare Our Kids for Life. This one had
Hmm.
almost a 500,000 views. Why we need to disrupt middle age. So these aren't necessarily about like the empty nester. It's more so about the like principles that you instill in the children, right? Like,
Hmm.
but like this is what I do when I figure out like how to even hack that YouTube. Like going back to the YouTube shorts of search engines, like just using videos or using tags and keywords that are searchable, so that when people search it, it most likely, will pop up here on the main page. Now, oddly enough, I don't see any shorts that have come up. Here we go. Some shorts down at the bottom. Empty nesters, recent empty nesters create hilarious Duncan review, how to navigate the transition. Never empty nesters. That one did pretty well. But for the most part, these don't really do too well. But it's because again, day 8 of the they're not using like they're not really making their title searchable. Like the only reason it came up is because I literally have empty nester in the search,
Right.
but like if it's not really searchable. Like day 6 of the 30-day challenge, it's like not really searchable, which is why that affects the views a lot. So that's I just wanted to go over that exercise. Does that make sense though
Yeah,
on
it
that
does.
process?
Hmm.
Coolio. Um, so going back here to the core four, so out of these four, these three, YouTube, or Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, you want to post daily on this. And when I say post daily, it's more so like if you have lost any momentum or are relaunching, I would say posting daily for at least 45 to 60 days is advantageous because you like relearning the algorithm is relearning you, the audience is trying to figure out who your audience is, so it makes the most sense to be as consistent as possible on these apps for as long as you possibly can. Once you kind of like have your audience ingrained, then it's like that's where people can kind of get away with posting less consistently, like maybe like I would say like 3 times a week, um or instead of posting 4 times a day going down to 1 time a day. But I would say just to start off with once a day and work your way up. Don't I see a lot of people who try to like, oh, I want to go to 3 or 4 times a day. It's like they can only do that for like a week, right? It's easier to start at one and then maybe work your way up when you kind of got a flow of things, got a process and a system and stuff like that in place to be able to easily put out the content. Um, but for these top three, I would say you definitely want to switch it up, mix it between photos, carousels, stories, and lives that always have your avatar in mind. So like again, the giving value, the speaking to them, presenting a solution to a problem. Lives and stories. I would say stories, the goal of stories is to just again increase the engagement. So doing a lot of polls, doing a lot of questions, a lot of Q and A's, um, a lot of button pressing, like anything that kind of gets people to press a button or swipe up on your story is good. Lives are really good for um, like having other people on there with you to maybe talk about a problem that you might see in your industry, talk about a new product that you try and do a review. I think that people sleep on doing reviews on Instagram Live as opposed to, the traditional way that people do reviews, which is make a whole YouTube video, which you can do that too to tap into that YouTube audience. But I think that your audience on Instagram would appreciate reviews as well. So lives, and then the carousels.
Carousel. Okay. I
Carousel
was
is
just gonna
like,
ask, what's carousel?
yeah, that's the pictures that you see when you swipe to the left. Like I post a lot of carousels. Like when I post those
Okay.
tweets, those are carousels. I see even people post like a carousel as like a cover photo. So I'm gonna stop my share again because it's so many different
Yeah, I know
ways.
exactly what you're talking about.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and it's different ways that you can even do the carousels. Like have to be, um, they don't always have to be like that this stagnant post and it's all like the same thing where he's like you telling a story or walking them through a process. Um,
Right.
it could be a cover like this. Again, this is kind of the same thing, but one page that does these carousels in a bunch of different ways is Wealth. So like it's all the same. Like their covers are all the same, but it will be a little bit different. So like this one, not this is not a carousel. This is a stagnant post. Uh,
Okay.
Here's a carousel. It's a video. So sometimes you could do like a cover with a video and instead of putting it as a reel, you could put it as a post. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so that's pretty much all the carousels are, but the carousels are good for tapping it like so with reels, that's an opportunity for you as a content creator be to increase your reach to a larger audience that like of people that don't follow you. Now,
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, your posts don't get boosted to a larger audience unless you have a lot of engagement. So these are more so like posts that are for your community, for people who follow you, because they're going to be the people who see them for the most part. Like they're going to be the
Okay.
people who see them. But once you start getting a certain amount of shares and a certain amount of comments, then Instagram will, start to um, put it out there to more people and they'll just kind of show it in their explore page. So if the tags you're using make sense and it's aligned with tags that people following and stuff like that, then your post will most likely pop up on their explore page once you reach a certain amount of comments and stuff like that on your post, right? Reels is different. That
Mm.
algorithm for Reels is like something totally different than when you make a stagnant single post or a carousel.
Okay.
But the good thing is TikTok has you can do these carousels on TikTok now too. So I definitely would take advantage of that. When you do them on TikTok, what's going to make the biggest difference is the trending sound that you use.
Okay.
Yeah, I did a couple carousels on TikTok and some of them actually have more views than my videos. So they definitely work. And in YouTube, I should have stayed sharing my screen. Let me stop that share. YouTube now has community. Are you familiar with the YouTube community feature that they
I
added?
just see. I just see somebody invited me to their community. Um,
Oh, I
let
didn't
me
know that you
see.
could. I didn't know that you could uh invite people, but I do know that if people are on your like when people subscribe.
Oh no, it's called broadcast channel.
Oh, gotcha. But that's Instagram though, right?
Yeah, that's on Instagram. Yeah.
Got you. On YouTube, if you look here on the browser, like when people go to your channel, they got this
Uh-huh.
community tab. So like now, so not only this, you can add podcasts here as well. Like YouTube is going all in on adding podcasts because once you create a new podcast and you add it here on the mobile YouTube app And even here on the Explore part, there's a podcast now. So now when you add it here to the podcast playlist, people can browse your podcast and listen to the audio version of it without you
Mm,
having to like, because I know for me, like I have to download the video and I have to download the MP3 that I could upload separately on Anchor. So you don't have to do
okay.
that. You just upload it to YouTube and they'll take the audio format and put it on their podcast app. So they got that feature now, and then the community feature allows you to make, you know, polls. You can post videos. You can chop it up. You can send links. It's really a way for people to kind of connect with you outside of your video. So I would even say take advantage of this community feature to do things like polls and stuff like that as well, because this is a good way for you to, reveal your audience, right? Like not everybody is going to we got 1,000 plus subscribers on here, but you see, we only get like 8 votes. But that's more than we had if we wasn't using it, and it just gives me more information about what people like. So like we doing a new show, and I did this to kind of get a better idea um of a showdown, like flipping versus wholesaling, and this gave me a good idea of where to start with this new show concept. So even like for you, like if you know trying to grow and try new concepts on your YouTube page, using that community just to kind of get people who are active, and know to check that to just kind of get their feedback and engagement. And trust me, whatever poll you run on here, you can run on your Instagram story as well. Same thing with Twitter if you are active on Twitter. I'm not too active on Twitter, um, but I do know a couple podcasts and influencers that are doing pretty well on Twitter.
Yeah.
All right, so the screen is still loading. Can you see my screen?
Hmm.
Okay, perfect.
I
So on
can.
YouTube, the difference between posting daily on these apps and YouTube Shorts, and then like posting on the actual YouTube, like long form, I would say we used to say post weekly, but I would say on YouTube you want to post semi-weekly, so like 2 to 3 times a week. Uh, is like the cadence you want to follow on YouTube because YouTube does have this like what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a seniority system. So like the more content creators are putting out on YouTube and the longer they've been on YouTube, the more they start to expose your page and channel to more people. So like if you just posting out a video once a week, you're gonna grow slower than the person. Like let's say both platforms had their YouTube channel for a year. The platform that is posting 3 times a week versus the platform that's first posting once a week, and I even know some creators and podcasters who just put out an episode every 2 weeks. They're growing way slower than that podcast because they're putting out quantity. I mean, and even though we
Gotcha.
think it's quality over quantity with YouTube, it's still quantity because you're still testing to see what videos hit and what videos people like the most on your channel.
Gotcha.
And the more options you give them, the more YouTube sees that as an opportunity for you to keep eyes on their app and on their platform too.
Okay.
Um, because if you think about it, if you got another thing to stress the point, if you just posting one video a week that gets, let's say they both all average 25 views, right? If you posting one video with 25 views versus 3 videos with 25 views, you're really getting 75 views a week. So YouTube is like, okay, this person is getting more views than that person.
Hmm. I get that.
Yep. And again, polls are free, so I definitely would take advantage of using polls. It's just a super easy way of getting some free feedback from your audience to kind of testing people out, trying them up, seeing where they stand. I would advise if doing 2 polls a week on your page, one at day two. Let's say day one is Sunday, day two is Monday. I would say Monday and again on Thursday or Friday. I would say Friday really is the slowest day on social media when it comes to stuff like that. Um, unless you got a huge following already and you're an influencer and the algorithm already love you. But like I would say Friday is definitely one of the slowest because people are, getting ready to go out. All kinds of stuff is going on Fridays. So day two, Sunday. I mean, Monday and Thursday, I will post a poll on your page, like on a story. Um, you can even post polls on your reels as well. So if you're doing a very specific type of reel, posting a poll on that reel too.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it, Crystal. Do you have any questions for me regarding like what we spoke about so far?
No, I was just sitting here. I literally just said to make a calendar of contents on posting with what you just went over, like the photos, the reels, the stories. Um, like I said before, that's where my weakness is trying to organize my off days by making sure that I do something consistently. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is what I do need. Maybe if I do a calendar, I'll know what I need for each day. Because my bad habit is I'll do I had a phone full of content. I'll wake up or maybe been up all night and I'll be looking at some pictures or something in my phone and I'll make it just then and be like, okay, I'll post this in the morning because I'm thinking this is what I need. And then it's like, okay, but you didn't do five of them. You just did one. So
Mm,
now I'm like, if I make a calendar of what I need to do, maybe this will help me a little
yeah,
bit better.
yeah,
I
definitely.
think the career change or the yeah, I guess it's the career difference is where I really have to structure myself in the hair industry. You're structured, but you really free.
Mm.
In this industry, I'm gonna be set down by a computer and working on something, whether it's my phone, iPad, or laptop.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's a huge learning curve because I think the biggest
Mm.
thing with being an entrepreneur that most people don't realize with being an entrepreneur is like, yeah, you have time freedom, but you still have to have time management. It's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have somebody telling you that you got to answer emails from 9 to 10, but you got to answer emails, and it don't make sense to answer one email at the top of the day and then you answering emails all day. It's like it's best to like answer emails within that hour span and then go about the next project, next task. So it still is a level of time management that goes into it. And I would even try using that Asana app for creating a content calendar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
See, I just have to stay on stuff. I have to be very consistent um, with like classes and stuff because the minute plus I'm 47, so I'm going into premenopause, so don't judge me.
oh no, no, no judgment, no judgment. I'm not going through any of that and stuff like that slipped my mind. So it's all good. And
Okay,
so you
so I
got
see what
us.
you're saying on here.
So you got Asana. You
That's
can use that to
mhm.
create a content calendar, and they have different views as well. Like they have a calendar view for certain projects. They also have like a Kanban view, which is like a where you see like a timeline where you can move different tasks along the process. Kind of like how I showed you with the social media board that we have for you. That's more of a
Yes.
Kanban view. But other than that, like how were you feeling about like you have some content? How are you feeling about like where you are as a content creator and an entrepreneur and business owner, like meshing them all together and engaging?
Honestly, like on a real honest tip, which could really be one of my topics because of my audience, is like really sometimes I beat myself up because I don't do enough and then I just get into a slump and then I get this whole energy of flow where I'm like, okay, let's go, let's post. And then I don't know, it's just I don't know what the consistency of the content is almost like it's what I said earlier. It's that change of career that is just totally different from mine because with hair, it's what I love, 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 love to do. Content creating is me stepping outside of my comfort zone and learning all of this stuff and sitting sitting down, being still. That's the first thing. I probably got adult ADHD.
Mm.
So sitting down, being still by myself now, because
Yeah.
when I'm with my clients, I have a whole conversation with people. I can talk, but here I am sitting by myself. So it's just really adjusting that different lifestyle. So how is it working for me? I would give myself I don't give myself a F, and I don't know if you came up with D's. Did y'all have D's?
Oh yeah, we had these right like so I remember we had these when I up until I got to like eighth grade and then they stopped.
Okay, so yes, D saved us. D saved a lot of people in life for failing.
Hmm.
D's was like that thing where you didn't fail, but you ain't pass, but you got a D. Like you
Hmm.
just did not do either. So I would give myself like a high D, a C, kind of right in there,
Hmm.
because I just have to get with the consistency of doing something different. It's really a career shift.
Yeah.
It's really a career shift. So I got to make myself, it's almost like working out. I
Hmm.
don't like it, but I know it's good for me.
Right.
You know, yeah,
Right. I was watching something where they were saying like you never regret working out. You always regret not working out.
that
and
part.
and it's like that one thing that is super hard to stay consistent at. You most of the times telling yourself 101 lies on why you don't need to go this day or why you can afford to not go, and all kinds of reasons not to end up in there. But even if you like don't listen to any of it and you drag yourself in that gym and you don't even in the gym you don't want to be there, you like, man, I just want to go home. I'm not feeling it. But by the time you end up being done, it's like you feel so much better. It's like you never regret doing the action of going to the gym, but you
Yeah,
oftentimes regret when you end up not going. And
yeah,
I would say it's kind of like the same once you get to a certain point where you know the power of putting out content. You know how much it could impact your business. You know how it could even affect your coins and bringing some extra income. It's like you will never regret creating the content, but once you like, oh dang, I did have that hour to spend, coming up with those topics. I did have that hour to spend editing these two clips, so at least I can have Monday and Tuesday ready to go. Like we always end up regretting that part.
yeah.
And it is a lot more doing than planning. Like I know we talk a lot about the planning, but it is 90% doing. It's still 90% doing. Somebody gotta record the content. Somebody gotta
It
edit
is,
the content.
it is definitely 90% doing, because I can talk all day and say what I want to do and make a plan. Like I could do it just what I did, type out this and say everything that I think I might need to do in a calendar. I even have topics all in the phone. Now it's just the doing it, you
Hmm.
know. You just gotta follow through. There's like, I mean, it's just like anything, every coach and everybody tell you, you gotta stop with the excuses for yourself and just do it. I think I worry too about critique with it.
Like critique from others.
Yeah, yeah. I did a post, I think it was like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, where I cut this girl's hair all off.
Mm.
She was a client, and we've done that several times with her hair. And at first, people were coming at me, so I hadn't had that much like non followers started saying stuff. Um, and they were just, oh my God, I can't believe you cut all her hair off. This one guy told me you could have just gave her a natural. I don't like it. I mean, it was just coming. And so I was like, oh, wait a minute. I don't know if I was ready. So I found myself responding to them, and I'm like, Crystal, leave these people alone. Like, some people are not gonna be happy with your stuff. So that threw me.
Hmm.
It actually threw me, and I don't know if I even posted anything since then. Maybe since like something
I
for my Mother's Day
I could definitely see
or
that.
my
I could definitely see that. I would, just to kind of give you some encouragement, like that is like that's exactly what you want. That sound like that had the potential. Because one thing I always say is you for every comment you definitely want to comment back. Now, unless you got like 50
okay,
plus comments, you're not gonna have the time to comment to everyone. But you commenting back and responding to people, at least for the first time, helps you, you add in more comments to your post. So then when people go to it, they see like, let's say you got 14 comments, but you responded to every one. Instead of 14 comments, they see 28 comments. They don't see that you were responding
yeah,
to everyone. So now people want to join in on the conversation because people nosy. So that's that. And then even
yeah,
for the criticism, like what old dude saying like, I don't like it. You could have just went natural. I would have commented back like, what do you think I should do next time? Or like, what don't you like most about it? Like, really like challenging him, like to make him respond back, because then he might say something that would like that a lot of women might disagree with, and then now all those women gonna
and then that's
flood,
gonna cause
yeah, and they're
this.
gonna call, and now you got people debating in your comments, which is like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
best thing that could, like, we had a debate on one of our posts for our Cash Culture podcast, and that is the podcast. That's the clip that literally got like 400,000 views because it's like just like so many different arguments and debates going on in the comment section. That's really
yeah.
what tells Instagram like, oh, let's send this out to more people because this is going to get people on this app.
Okay, I got you. I got you. And see, my little smart ass was responding like, "I'm so glad God gave us our own different perspective," because He said she could have gotten a dope shortcut, natural cut. The brainwash mentally says less kink is better. I'll take a black woman with natural hair any day over anything else.
Yeah,
And
so like,
so I'm just like,
yeah, I would just like, if they saying something disrespectful, then that's when you like you could check them. But if they just kind of like just sharing like a point of view, I'm like
yeah,
I'm gonna let them rock out. But I'm still gonna comment to make them like even like either expunge on their point a little bit further, or like get them to say something that might like that would be polarizing, like that would force other people to pick a side too. Cause
yeah,
like
I
I just had
got you.
somebody yesterday tell me that they comment on one of my videos like get to the point already on one of my YouTube videos. So I just loved it and was like, oh man, I appreciate that feedback. I'm gonna add some chapters so next time when you're watching, you can save some time and just click a part that you're most interested in. So like I was like, man, F you, man. Like I'm getting there. I'm
Exactly.
getting to the point, but I ain't you don't want to comment that.
Yeah, and I think that's where first the emotion starts jumping in, and you like one girl was like, "I can't believe that you didn't show the whole process of this haircut that drastic. This is not cool." I'm like, these people are like bold and sad at the same time, just miserable. But and I just text back, "Aw."
Oh, see, look, I was like, ooh, that's perfect. Cause like next time, like somebody say something like that, I can't. I'm like, oh wow. So next time you think I should do next time you think I should do a full, like a full transformation,
Yeah,
right? Like, or maybe even egging them on, like, hey,
I'll
you in
be like,
Georgia, you
"Are
want to
you
come
are you
next?
sure you're gonna sit? Are you sure you're gonna sit and watch me do the full transformation?
So
Like, would you love to see?"
you would still make it a reel, right? So you still want it to be like under like a minute or something like that,
Yeah.
or
No,
just
that's what
directing
I'm
them to go
saying.
to the
That
YouTube.
would be my question to her. Are you sure
Ah,
you gonna you want to watch me do this
yeah.
whole? Yeah,
You would watch the whole transformation? Like, okay, question mark, question mark. Got you.
yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's yeah, I love when we get people who I think as content creators, we oftentimes think that like everybody's gonna like what we have to say, and that's what makes us influencers. But the like a lot of the most famous influencers also have a lot of people that don't like what they say. Like you
Oh
think
yeah.
about like Jake Paul and his brother. Like I remember they was getting famous on YouTube for like doing stuff like eating Brillo pads and like really dumb stuff. Like yeah,
I can't. Who are
yeah,
they?
they were doing really dumb stuff.
Oh wow. But I
Yeah.
was like, you've heard of Tabitha Brown?
Mhm.
Yeah, so she was talking about how people would just be evil. And like she's like the sweetest auntie,
Mhm.
like on there. Like she don't do nothing that would cause for you to really just come at her. And people are just like, oh my God, your voice is ridiculous. I can't stand the way you talk. Like your colors are too bright. You just don't look good for. I was like, people are really just
Yeah.
evil. And she said something about you just have to ignore the comments because they're there watching too.
Yeah, and those are comments that don't even deserve the energy anyway. Like
Yeah,
so, like that's probably like my rule. Like if if it don't apply, let it slide, right? Like if that's not how you feel about yourself, then you just gotta like I know I said respond to every comment. Those are the comments that just get looked over. Like
yeah,
I'm not about to like it. I'm not about to respond back. I'm not about to pin it. I'm not about to do anything with it. It's just going to sit there for other people to see how evil you look because
yeah.
people gonna see
Okay.
it like the other people gonna see it and then
Yeah,
it's gonna be a way better feeling when you ignore it and then you see somebody comment to your rescue and they be like and you just see somebody you don't know just comment back and they respond to this person like you sound crazy, you a fool, you miserable, you need to get a life
yeah.
and you be like, oh, I didn't have to say it, somebody else said it.
Yeah. Well, somebody did it on mine that I didn't know, and I responded and said something, and she was like, "Okay, Crystal, I see you shut that down real quick."
Hmm.
Like I don't even know who this person is,
Yeah.
but yeah, but I see
See,
exactly, and it did feel good. Like wow, yeah, somebody else did see that he was an asshole.
yeah, it's not just you. It's not just you at
Yeah,
all. And
right.
that's usually how it is. So what I'll do, what I'm gonna do when we get out of here, Crystal, I'm gonna follow up with you tomorrow, see if I could lend a hand and, it help you get your Asana set up or something that, will allow you to kind of get an overview of like what you could be putting out, get a plan to put it out, because you're sitting on a lot of content and I mean you even sitting on some content that could be repurposed, I'm sure too, at
Yes.
least into the meantime of you, getting your voice right and getting back into the recording mix of things.
Okay, definitely. Just hit me up and let me know um what's a good time, and we'll talk.
Most definitely, most definitely. So, anything else before I let you go?
No, this was good. I really do appreciate your content and stuff. I do go back and look at the ones you post when you post these in the group.
Hmm.
I was listening to something earlier today that you had when I went into the doctor's office. Um, what was it? Um, it was on the Discord. It was oh, it was resources. Yes, the habits of authentic people.
Mm,
Yeah,
gotcha, gotcha. Yeah,
yeah.
I like pulling up old videos every once in a while, and what I'm even noticing that, some of my videos that I put out like a year ago when I first started the YouTube channel, like you can even take some of those and like I'm thinking about taking those older episodes, not deleting them, but just reproducing them.
Okay.
Like just making it a whole new video with the same concept, slightly different content. But taking like that same thing, like habits of highly authentic people, and just re-recording it, for example, and maybe instead of 8, I give them 12, or cut down the list to like, the
Okay.
best ones, because that's another way of repurposing content. Um, and there was one more thing that I was thinking of. Oh yeah. So I'm starting to notice a trend too that I want to share with you, Crystal. From producing these different types of podcasts and shows, I'm starting to see that everybody is responding a similar way to what gets like there's a similar but different way you can create content on YouTube that that can still be like educational and entertaining, and that's like creating some type of this versus that, adding that polarity. So like I'm even getting ready to add a new show concept for my podcast because the $1 Million Mind podcast is not like Hardly Initiated where it's going to be super controversial. Because controversy always is going to get a lot more views than the educational stuff. People
Mm-hmm.
get bored with educating themselves for some reason. But
Mm-hmm.
if you can bring entertainment to education, then you could kind of bring that polarity through some type of battle. So I'm getting ready to do like a business wars or a battle of the business concepts or something like that, where I bring two different businesses and kind of pit them together. So because my audience are like side hustlers, people trying to get into like what's that next business going to be because they trying to get out of their job. So most people just like on information overload, trying to figure out, well, do I get into Airbnbs or do I get into wholesaling or do I get into content creation? What do I
Oh,
do? So
that's
we just put
cool.
put the businesses together and have two different like a flipper and a wholesaler kind of come on one show and then kind of pitch like how much they started their business with, if they got funding, like letting them know the ins and outs so that that person could be like, oh wow, yeah, I don't like that, but I do like that. I think I'm gonna go with the wholesaler.
That sounds good. Like I have some ideas with what you're saying. Long story short, I might be out of work for about 5 to 6 weeks. So I was like, oh, I really got to do something,
Hmm.
like really figure out something. But you saying like hosting, I think you said 40 something to 55, something like that. But what I'm noticing that is it's the working mom, it's the working woman. So those are different things I would like to like bring a single mom on with no kids, but executive, and then the executive mama, and different things like that for people to have some interest in. I don't know. My mind's all over the place, so we'll talk so I can.
Hmm. You might even want to consider like maybe like doing like some showdowns as well, like maybe an episode where two people using like two different types of
Flat
edge
Earth.
control or flat
Yeah.
irons, right? And comparing which one did a better job. Or like, testing out two different types of hairstyles to see which
Yeah,
one
we're
took
gonna
them,
do that.
the least amount of time. I think stuff like that is definitely that adds the entertainment to it because people love a good challenge, a showdown, a this versus that, because it gets them to pick a side and people for some like we're always choosing sides, which is why sports is so
Mhm.
popular, is because like you either like this team or you like that team.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Yep, you're right. That's why sports are so hot because people like the competition,
Hmm.
the back and forth.
Hmm.
Okay.
Competition is a good way to bring entertainment to education.
Yeah. Oh, this would be good because then you can get the tag the companies in these.
Hmm. Yep, yep. And if you give them a good review, they might share it,
Hmm.
exposure, and it would you never know. You might get a brand deal out of it. Who knows?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
So, that's what I got though, Crystal. I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna shoot you. I got to get this video edited so that we can have it out for the replay for everybody. But I will definitely reach out to you tomorrow, check in, and
Okay.
see how I can help you out with setting up a sign and stuff like that. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Awesome. All
Thank
right.
you
You
so
enjoy the
much.
rest of
You
your
have a
night.
good night.
You
All right,
too.
you
Bye
too.
bye.